We're joined in studio by crime expert Mr. Calvin Rafadi to look at not just this matter, but so many other cases of kidnappings and violent crime in the country. But I want to start with this one. February, the journalist and his partner go missing. Talk to me about just the sort of work that would go into being able to get the answers for the families.
Yeah, thanks for the invite and good evening to your viewers.
Sure.
So basically, we part of the group that were roped in, to privately investigate. So the family, we are assisting the family and including the press club. So upon analyzing this particular case, remember there were two cases, one in Mamelodi, which was open, which is the jurisdiction of Gauteng, of a missing journalist, which is Sibu Asari. And then subsequent to that, then there was a housebreaking at Kwamhlanga, which is in Mpumalanga, their residential home. So because of that housebreaking, then there were now a high possibility that somebody could have, taken them and kidnapped them from their home. So we then were roped in, and then we helped the police to do some analysis. Fingerprints were even taken by the police, and then to our surprise, the analysis of the of the fingerprint are not yet back. But remember now, because the person who has committed this particular crime, he frequents in that house most of the time, especially on Mondays, because Mondays, that's when he brings the takings of, from the taxi that he drives. It is those 4+1 e-hailing type of a taxi in the township. So then on the cell phone analysis, then we were called in to analyze, only to find out his alibi, that the statement that he gave at the police station doesn't match with his statement, where he said he only saw the couple on the 16th of February, and yet on the 18th, he's the last person to even call the couple, and even was in presence with the couple towards Ras Defender, which is towards Limpopo side, Valbank, Portion B. And then subsequent to that, on the following day, he came back and they, together with his friends, the other two accused, and then they destroyed the phones in Brongospruit, just for the police not to get traced. So we were on the ground, but, we thank the National Commissioner when he intervened and formed the tax team, which was last week, I think, on Sunday. And the tax team, they really brought a lot of resources to the point that all the suspects now are arrested, except the two who are still on the run, the ones that you mentioned. But we also want to urge our communities that do not approach them when you see them, because they are heavily armed. Remember, we don't have a murder weapon as yet. And they are very heartless because, upon raiding their homes, I saw that even where they sleep, that these people, they are, heavy on drugs. So those are not the people that you need to approach, but to kindly call the police or the nearest police station so that the police can come and apprehend them.
What was it that you saw in the homes of these two individuals that are now on the run?
Yeah, where they sleep, you can actually tell that even from their pillows, they are so dirty. And one of their other best friend that we managed to arrest last week, he's also selling drugs, and he's also a drug addict for that matter. And he also confirmed. Now, this case is, they can find the best attorneys in the world. It's as strong as, having a Section 204, confession statements, state witnesses, and, the analysis even places them at the scene of crime. And remember, they are the ones who even did a pointing out where they threw those, the body of our brother and sister, Asari and Zodwa. So indeed, they don't stand a chance to come out anytime soon.
Do we know at this point, and perhaps you were able to get some sort of understanding during this investigation, what the motivation would have been?
Yes, the motivation, through the confession, basically what happened, and it corresponds with every analysis that was done, is that this particular Samuel father, Mohongwe, as he was the driver, so the couple wanted to, extend their house because they only built some back rooms and the garage. So they were saving money to do that particular exercise. So he wanted to buy the car from them, and then they promised that, no, we can sell you this car, and you are popular in this business. So he then got these two thugs, these two addicts, this shorty guy, they call him David, and then this Sello. the convicted one who just now is on parole. So he got those two addicts as far as last year, around November or December. They were supposed to commit this particular crime of getting this couple out of the house so that he can gain entry and get the original papers of the vehicle, including the takings from those envelopes that he will normally drop them at their house on Mondays. But it never materialized last year. Till then, eventually did materialize on the 18th of February, and indeed they committed this particular horrific crime. Now, upon coming back from Ras Defender, they went back to the house. They gained access into the house. That's why the house was found ransacked, because he now was looking for the original papers of the vehicles. And as he was doing that, those drug addicts then started helping themselves with the fridge, clothes, even some of the animals, the sheep at the backyard, and the particular VW City Golf of the journalist. Because we found it was stripped, and one of the drug addicts took the gearbox and some of the parts to fix his own particular Golf and sold some of the parts in the local areas as well.
Sure. You know, I want to broaden it a little bit, if you'll allow me, Mr. Rafadi, because you've got, for instance, the SAPS's data looking into just the extent of kidnappings and how serious they have been in the country. And there's been a sense that while these two were missing, there was a question around whether or not they were kidnapped. But I want to look at this. You've got 1,900 girls that are unaccounted for the most, accounted for rather for the most recovered missing people. That's in the past 5 years. In the past 5 years, police divers have recovered 3,099 bodies from rivers and dams. And then you've got some of the high-profile sort of kidnappings that we see taking place. What is the driving force here, and why? I mean, is this an increase in numbers, and how is this taking place?
Yeah, no, the numbers are very worrying, and that's why I think even the law of reporting a missing person has been amended, because previously we were told that in 48 hours, only then you can report a person missing. But nowadays, the minute you realize that one of your loved ones is missing, you are allowed to open a case for that matter. So, but those numbers are very worrying. There's a lot of human trafficking, especially when it comes to our children and even women, for that matter. They are lured into, opportunities of business or even other opportunities of jobs. And somehow, wherever they are kept, they will take their passports, their identity, and even some of their cell phones. And those type of cases, they become so hard to crack. Now, then you get this sophisticated kidnappings whereby, business people are being taken, more especially business people who can afford, by the way, and ransom is demanded. That's why even nowadays that even certain private banks, those who are into business banking or even other certain insurance companies, they got a cover for insurance kidnapping, but they want whosoever that they insure to have the close protection, the CPOs. So that's why you see that business of that security industry is booming. People are driving around with bodyguards. It's because there's a high number of those type of kidnappings for ransom. But what is also worrying is that many ransom are paid and dockets, then they are filed and they grow dust. And the reason being why I'm specifically talking about this point is that whenever ransom is demanded, these criminals, the modus operandi, they will change SIM cards into phones and change location and all of that. But the minute the money is being paid, I think that is the right time, the logic now to eventually find them and find the motive of what has really taken place. But there's a big syndicate that is operating, and it's a collective. There are those who do the pickup, there are those who look after the victim, there are those who make sure that money is paid, whether by forex or collection of money, but they change those type of efforts.
Very organized.
And it's a very organized crime.
Very organized, it sounds like. You've got 17,968 missing children and adults that have been reunited by police in the past 5 years. 17,900, so just short of 18,000 individuals, women, children, and all of that. But What do you make of the capacity of our police in dealing with the issue of kidnappings and missing individuals? Where are the gaps, and where does improvement need to take place?
Yeah, look, police are overwhelmed, and there are certain task teams that are formed, you know, in relation to dealing with the tracking system. The tracking unit, for that matter, within the SAPS and the DPCI. But one can say, and the crime intelligence for that matter, but one can say that the numbers are too high. So that's why even us as community members, we need to kindly urge our communities, you know, to be cautious. What they post on social media, do not attract this particular criminals. Let's look after our kids. Let's have some, you know, there are gadgets that you can even put in a school bag of a child, you know, a microchip so that you can monitor the child. Let's keep on checking on one another, because with the police, they are very overwhelmed and the resources are very minimum. But besides also the resources being very minimum, is that there are also red tapes within the police, you know, to release some of these particular resources, especially if you want to do tracking on a real time. And that's another thing that the Minister of Police, they need to look at. Real-time tracing is very important when you deal with such situation of kidnappings, because a call is made, you cannot wait for anybody to sign in 2 weeks for a certain particular gadget to be released. So real time is very important to deal with this kind of crime.
Well, Mr. Rafadi, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you, and thank you so much for bringing us that insightful and concerning information as well. Calvin Rafadi, of course, is a crime expert and University of Johannesburg research associate.